right. I'll wait a second. We have a board member who's got to make their way up here. All right, and I'll call this regular meeting of the Board of Education to order at 7:10 p.m. Apologies for those of you in the audience who were waiting. We were still conducting business in closed, so thank you for your patience. Please call the roll.
Ms. Pearson?
Present.
Mr. Rollins?
Here.
Ms. McCall?
Here.
Mrs. McCulloch?
Here.
Mr. Siegel?
Here.
Ms. Haley?
Here.
Ms. Stanford?
Here.
With 7 present, we have a quorum.
We'll now take a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At the beginning of each board meeting, we like to remind everyone that the mission of the Rockford Public Schools is to collaboratively engage all students in first-class education for a changing world. Before we go any further, thank you, Kathy Bayer-Eberly. She's working behind the scenes to produce the broadcast via YouTube live stream and Comcast Channel 20. I'd also like to welcome Superintendent Student Advisory Council Representative Jessica Perez Furman from Auburn High School, and we'll hear from you later. Thank you for being here. We're at the petitions and communication portion of our meeting where we invite the public to make comments. Oops. Oh, okay. Let's celebrate and recognize outstanding contributions of our students and staff. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to slight you on that. I apologize. Mr. Dotson, the floor is yours.
Good evening. I am excited to be here again to celebrate Rockford Public Schools' outstanding students and staff. The city of Rockford celebrated Auburn High School sophomore Kayla Anderson in January as the city of Rockford's new youth poet. She started exploring the art form and discovered her love for poetry at West Middle School as part of West Lit Up. Kayla told the Rock River Current that she is excited to help people by supporting mental health issues and awareness. The youth poet serves in this role for 1 year and is tasked with promoting literacy and literature among residents of all ages. Congratulations, Kayla. And she's not here tonight, but we're going to give her a round of applause anyway. Woo! Auburn High School's Christina Puzin was selected to participate in the honors course at the Illinois Music Education Association All-State Choir Festival. Christina is a junior at Auburn, and her teacher, Kappa Choir Director Marissa Martinez, wrote on the 205 Vibe, "I am so proud of Christina's hard work and dedication to music. She consistently seeks new ways to grow as a musician through practice and taking on all opportunities that come her way. She is sure to go far with her talent, leadership, and drive to succeed." Christina spent time earlier this month in Peoria rehearsing with some of the best high school singers in the state. As a participant of Honors Chorus, Christina automatically qualifies for a talent scholarship at numerous schools, including a $4,000 scholarship from Millikan University. Congratulations, Christina. And she is here. Come on. high school sophomore Michaela Jones represented Rockford Public Schools in East High School in January at the State Special Olympics snowshoeing competition in Galena. Michaela won a gold medal in the 50-meter race in December to secure her spot in the state games. Michaela is also a cheerleader for the ERAB's JV football team and basketball team and is on the Gigi's Playhouse Cheer Gyms. Congratulations, Michaela. Let's give her a round of applause, please. Next up, we're going to celebrate some of our staff. The Illinois State Board of Education will recognize 2 RPS 205 staff members at their annual awards banquet in April. The 2023 Those Who Excel and Teacher of the Year Awards. Wendy Jasinski is a paraprofessional at Lathrop Elementary School. She will receive an award of special recognition in the Educational Support Personnel category. Dawn Bean is a nurse at Lathrop Elementary School. She will receive an award of meritorious service in the Educational Support Personnel category. Lathrop Principal Daniela Bohr said both staff members go beyond their regular duties to help and support Lathrop students and staff. Congratulations, Wendy and Dawn, and thank you for supporting Rockford Public Schools students. Wendy isn't here, but Dawn is here. Let's give it up for Dawn. Woo! And that is all. As always, we want to thank parents, coaches, principals, brothers, sisters, cousins, nieces, nephews, everyone who played a role in your success. So thank you all. Thank you. That is all. Thank you.
Mr. Dotson, I'm going to add a recognition, and it is a poem on Black History Month. The gal who wrote it couldn't be here tonight to read it for us, and she's a 7th grader at Lincoln. Her name is Tykeria Dashlet, and she won the creative writing contest, and she read it to her school today, and she can't come next month either, so so I asked her if I could read it on her behalf. And the poem is called What Do You Sense? Look, what do you see? Do you see people being pushed down to the dirt and still having the courage to rise and make changes? Or do you see rebels? Pause. What do you feel? Do you feel blood dripping and draining? Discouragement, sorrow, pain, and pressure? Weight piling little by little on your shoulders? Or nothing but hunger for power? Listen. What do you hear? Do you hear people wailing and whimpering? Do you hear lifted voices and caged birds singing while their wings are clipped and bullets yelling? Or are you just closing your ears? Inhale. What do you smell? Do you smell the stench of blood of our fellow American brothers and sisters? Or do you smell nothing but trouble and hostility? Taste. What do you taste? Do you taste sorrow and starvation because your family and friends have been stolen, wounded, or killed? Or do you taste nothing but power on the tip of your tongue? So I thought that was really powerful for this month, and we congratulate her on her win. We're now at the petitions and communication portion of our meeting. When we invite the public to make comments, the board will not respond to the comments at this time. If it is appropriate, you will be contacted in a timely manner by staff. Each speaker will be allowed no more than 2 minutes to address the board, and we only have one speaker tonight. It is not appropriate to address individual board members or individual administrators or discuss matters that would otherwise be confidential in such open meetings. If you look to your left, you'll see 2 digital clocks. Terry, you've been here before. I know you know this rodeo. Thank you for your interest and your cooperation with our guidelines. So, Terry Gano.
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Terry Gano, and I'm a member of Eliminate Racism 815. Today, third graders who cannot read at grade level are on track to be our nation's lowest income earners and least skilled citizens. Without a strong foundation in reading, students are left behind at the beginning of their education and will fall further behind in classes year after year because more than 85% of school curriculum is taught by reading. And by the end of third grade, 74% of struggling readers won't ever catch up. In fact, one of the most important predictors of graduating from high school is reading proficiently by the end of third grade. In 2011, sociologist Donald Hernandez reported that children who do not read proficiently by the end of third grade are 4 times more likely to leave school without a diploma than proficient readers. All this data begs the question that with only 15.3% of all third grade students currently in Rockford Public Schools reading and writing at a third grade level, why is all of this effort and taxpayer dollars being spent on a program, the IB program, that is essentially grounded in reading in all areas of its journey of learning, including language arts, social studies, math, and science? Wouldn't it make more sense to divert those funds and efforts into making sure that all current RPS students are able to read and write at third grade level first before introducing a new program, the magnitude of the IB program? Some students who enter the program will not be able to read and write at grade level. What efforts will be made to help those students, and why could not the same efforts be used for the rest of the RPS students? In closing, I have 3 questions. Does the IB program use a different reading program than the rest of the schools in RPS? If so, does this reading program have a proven track record? And finally, are these funds being used at the expense of the students in our district?
Thank you, Terry. I'm going to ask who we direct that question to in the district. Is it to the IB principal or is it to our?
Yes, that would be directed towards our new IB principal, so I'll be happy to pass those questions on.
Okay. We're now at the consent portion of our meeting, which includes items previewed by the board committee chairs during the committee of the whole meeting, including the following: payroll, accounts payable, purchase orders, construction pay request log, RPS managed work change order, SRRPS managed work change order, monthly cash and investment report for January 2023, the financial reports or results from January 2023, the RFP on substitute management, the IFB on security vestibules at Flynn, Guilford, Lincoln, Nashholt, and Summerdale schools. It also includes the consent items from the governance committee, which are the meeting minutes of February 14th, 2023, contracts purchase orders, and the Freedom of Information log. Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent items?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Are there any consent items board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration?
Yes, I would like to pull 4I.
Okay. Ms. Pearson?
Yes, one. Oh, never mind. That's in closed session.
Okay. No
Thank you.
problem. No problem. All right. I'll ask the coordinator to call the roll on all the items from 4 and 5 with the exception of 4I.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
I'd entertain a motion in a second for 4I, the RFP 2334 substitute management.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Questions?
I just had a question regarding the RFP process and basically what the final score was based on.
Please introduce
The
yourself
criteria.
when you get up there. I think we have some new board members here. Might not.
My name is Dane Youngblood. I'm the Director of Purchasing here for the district. Right below above those scores, it includes the criteria that we scored against. We create a matrix for each person that reviews the proposals and then the interviews we do for the finalists. And those criteria were the financial proposal itself, management and operations, relevant experience, references and certification, and startup transition plan. Those were the main criteria that we evaluated for this RFP.
And the final question is what was the purpose of reevaluating the current provider?
Their contract was up and it was time to create a new one. If Matt wants to expand on that,
Can we
he's more
just
than
have,
welcome to.
just a general overview, I think, is what you're looking for
Yeah.
of why and what and. Thank
Yes.
you, Mr. Youngblood.
So we engaged in a substitute management partner back in 2017 under Insight. Insight was then purchased by Kelly Services, and so Kelly Services assumed us as a customer and a client. So we didn't go back out to bid and select Kelly Services. We in fact just had renegotiated with Insight on an extension of their contract, and so this contract was up with Kelly Services. I had been in contact with the board and Kelly Services about some customer service issues that we had been having, and so we thought it prudent to go out to the market to see what was out there in terms of competition for the services for our substitute management.
And in 17. Prior to 17, it was in-house. That was our first year.
Correct. The state of Illinois did not allow you to subcontract that until 2017. Correct.
Thank you for that clarification. Appreciate it.
Also, while you're up there, okay, Tim, go ahead. I'll wait on mine.
So I can't remember if you told us this or if I just heard this. Are we pulling the retired teacher portion of this back in-house?
So that's something we had discussed with each one of our finalists in interviews, if that would be something that they would agree to in their contract. All three have agreed that would be something that they would agree to in terms of when we negotiate the contract. So we are looking at pulling our RPS retirees back in-house and having our partners then execute all other retirees outside of those. So we'll be creating a communication plan, and all of those transition plans will come as we communicate with all of our subs, and then in particular with our RPS retirees.
And that was going to be my question. So we are going to negotiate the contract that we hire the retired.
Yep.
Okay. And the reason that came up, just for some of the new board members, is they're already in our system. It makes it much easier, and they're much more likely to want to participate if they don't have to go through a lot of extra work and sign up again and work with a different group. So, right? Mm-hmm. Plus, we're paying them more now, $150 a day.
I believe our retired subs
Certified?
are $159. I believe is where they're at.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Other questions?
No, it was answered.
Pardon?
It was answered.
Okay. David?
Will we measure the success of attracting non-retiree subs versus our retiree subs, and possibly consider if the retiree subs are doing a much better job of filling those vacancies, of maybe bringing the entire service back in-house? Not to be a control freak, but it feels like we would have more control if if we did?
Sure. We'll always be evaluating that. So we'll negotiate the initial terms of the contract with our partner, and we'll evaluate metrics such as fill rate, such as number of active subs working, those types of metrics that we'll take a look at. Fill rate, then we'll separate out in our system, fill rate done by RPS retirees versus non. We'd have the ability to do that within our management software. So those are all the things that we'll take a look at as we engage in the contract. Just as a reminder, as we get engaged with non-retirees, there are other costs that come along with that, like insurance, other retirement things for the district to consider, but that will always be something that we take a look at and would have on the table.
I understand control has a price.
The length of this contract is?
We typically look when we negotiate with a new vendor that we would do a 3-year contract with options for 2 one-year options for that, but that's something that we would still need to sit down with the vendor with.
So you'll have to bring back a contract to us to approve. This is just the bid. My other one is, do you intend to put a goal? I mean, we had a goal in the one, I think for Insight, 85% fill rate, which is where you were saying we weren't.
I think that's something we would talk about. I would be, yes, we definitely want those metrics and goals. I'd be a little hesitant right now just in the nature of where we're at right now from a market on subs, and it's not just us, it's all districts. So I would like to probably look at goals that get increased as we look at performance over year 1, year 2, both again from an active sub participation and fill rate. And then what's really essential to me as we bring on a new vendor is also some customer service metrics from our schools.
And so when you go to negotiate this contract, if they don't like the idea of those metrics or, having a goal, could we ostensibly be back looking at one of the other people who
Certainly
bid?
could do that. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Ms. Pearson?
Yes, I do have a question. So to Dave's point, or Mr. Siegel, at what point, what are the vendors doing or have access to that we don't?
Yeah, so that's their main job, so time and resources. So when we had it in-house, we had essentially 2 people doing what their entire company could do in terms of recruitment and engaging with those employees. So that's a big piece of it. What else they can offer those individuals is retirement, unemployment benefits because they're a private company. So therefore, then they qualify for unemployment. They qualify for insurance, all of those different benefits that come with it. But the main reason that we initially looked at working outside for a partner is the time that it takes to recruit and to continually monitor substitutes. And so these individuals, that's what their job is. That's all that they do. And it was just a fraction of what we did in terms of HR. And so we really wanted to explore the idea of a company that focuses entirely on that to see what we could do in the market.
So what additional things are the recruiters doing that restrict them from recruiting?
I don't know if I understand your question.
So if that's their job, then what barriers are present that is preventing them to recruit? I mean, so to go back to the question, what access do the vendors have that we don't?
Sure.
And why couldn't we get that same access? I understand the benefit piece. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the pool of people
so their companies would have certain budgets and resources because that we wouldn't be the only district, so they have a larger pool and larger access in terms of the varieties of recruitment they do, from billboards to TV commercials and others. But then it's just the manpower to attend all of the different events that they're able to do, that we just don't have the necessary people inside of HR to do all of the events that they do. When we first joined Insight, they were having some real success in the first couple of years they were with us. And then in 2019, our tech outage really kind of hampered that in the fall. And then we haven't really been able to really evaluate those efforts with COVID and then now the inflation in the market. And so I'll be really looking forward to, as we get into a more stable market and years away from the pandemic, to see what that vendor could provide us from a recruitment standpoint for subs.
Okay, so to better understand, when they get subs for us, where are the substitutes coming from?
Yeah, so they're recruiting from our community, outside of our community. They're working with local universities. They're looking on the outskirts of Rockford, so they use typically a mile radius. Every company does it slightly different, but that'd be the market that they're taking a look at for a recruitment standpoint. And the recruitment, again, is one piece of it. There are other soft costs that come along with management of subs, so all the clericals at the buildings, our payroll technicians when we have clock-in issues. There are other things that come along with the managing the substitutes that fall on this company and not on our current staff to allow them to focus in on other parts of their job. So it's kind of a total package when we look at bringing a partner in to help us manage our subs.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The fiscal component of this, the $3.1 million.
That would be where we look at for an average fill rate where we're at right now with a certain number of subs. Bringing if we to bring then our RPS retirees back in house, the contract wouldn't be that much.
That was going to be my question.
Some of the dollars would be shifted back.
If you're basing it on our current one, they are doing both.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Would the coordinator call the roll? Thank you, Mr. Zediker.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Legal question. Do we always just do the bid first and then go do the contract instead of just bringing the contract forward with the bid? Just seems
It depends.
piecemeal. Okay.
It depends.
Why would we do this? We've already voted, so this is just a point of information.
Right.
sort of.
It just depends on when we get all the information and move forward with the contract.
Okay. As a board member, I think it's nice to vote on, to have all the information, and so that was why I asked the question. All right, we're going to move to the closed session consent items. A, appointment of Christina Miller as the 12-month Director of Accountability assigned to the Administration Building. B is the resolution authorizing dismissal of the probationary teachers. C is resolution authorizing the dismissal of the fourth-year probationary teacher. D is the resolution authorizing the dismissal of a non-tenured administrators. F, HR organizational report and addendum. E has been pulled. Number 7, the closed session consent items for student discipline. H0058X is the expulsion is held in abeyance contingent upon an expulsion and abeyance agreement for the remainder of the 22-23 school year through the second trimester of the 23-24 school year. H0059X is expelled for the remainder of the 22-23 school year through the entire 23-24 school year. H0060X, the expulsion is held in abeyance contingent upon an expulsion and abeyance agreement for the remainder of the 22-23 school year through the entire 23-24 school year, which can be changed to its own EIA upon successful completion of the refresh program. P0108X is expelled for the remainder of the 22-23 school year through the first semester of the 23-24 school year. And the following closed student discipline EIAs: B0011, B0012, H0054, H0055, H0056, H0057, H0061, P0107, P0109, T0010. I'll entertain a motion in a second to approve the closed session consent items.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any closed session consent items board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Ms. Pearson?
6B.
I'm sorry, 6B as in boy?
B as in boy, yes.
Okay. Any others? All right, I'll ask the coordinator to call the roll on items in 6, 7, and 8 with the exception of 6B as in boy.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second for the resolution authorizing dismissal of probationary teachers?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it is closed, and so there will be no discussion on the floor. I'll ask the coordinator to call the roll.
Mrs. McCulloch?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
No.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 no.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is superintendent report. Dr. Jarrett.
Well, I have the honor of turning my superintendent's report over to our superintendent student advisory representative, Jessica, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Is this good? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Press-Berman. I'm a senior at Auburn High School in the Gifted and Creative Arts programs. I've been a student in the district my entire life, attending Fairview Early Childhood, Froberg Elementary, Washington Academy, Thurgood Marshall, and graduating from Auburn High School in hopefully a few months. First and foremost, I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity I've had this month to sit in on the board meetings and watch each of you advocate and support for the schools and students in them. As you might be aware, this past year I applied and was appointed to the Illinois Board of Education Student Advisory Council. This is a group of 25 students from all over Illinois chosen to provide the state school board with student perspectives regarding educational concerns which affect the various regions of the state differently. We spend several hours a month convening with the purpose of writing out formal recommendations to the board and tackling educational inequities which will be presented in Springfield this coming May. It's been an amazing opportunity to not only connect with peers as passionate about advocacy as myself, but also to learn the ways that educational issues faced by different regions of Illinois compare to those of the very diverse Rockford Public School District. A subtopic of our proposal, of which I am responsible for contributing to, is the recommendations on how to slow down the school-to-prison pipeline, or the tendency for young individuals from disadvantaged backgrounds to become incarcerated due to increasingly harsh school policies. The objectives for this subcommittee are to encounter the issue at the source, stressing the importance of the consideration of each student's background and the impact educational support has on their successes in the future. My involvement in this initiative is of great importance to me as I attend a magnet school consisting of students from many different backgrounds, a true Rockford mosaic. My contributions to the council give me the ability to not only impact the students in my community, my school zone, my district, but the entire state. As I've been able to sit down and observe the actions taken by the school board this month, I want to emphasize my appreciation for the board taking initiative to be involved in the community you represent. To me, the community programs I've learned about, the various ways board members participate in their respective zones, and the consideration of the factors that may affect children's success in school are all actions that contribute to a greater rate of educational success. The consideration of a student's background and the components that affect them individually, whether that be economic, racial, or sociocultural, is imperative to supporting their future success. I want to take this time to not only applaud the school, I want to take this time to applaud the board for the initiative taken to becoming more involved in the lives of the student through the community. Additionally, I urge you all to continue this approach and consider students as wholes rather than the attributes that may show on the surface. With such a diverse district, it's of great value to put yourselves in the shoes of the student and see them for their personal success, their potential success, instead of their potential or expected failures. A focus on the individual student is an investment to the future of our community. Thank you.
All right.
And that concludes my report. Always the best superintendent report of the month. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Thank you. And good luck. I'm pretty sure you'll be walking across the stage. Hopefully you said no. All right, next on the agenda, opportunity for comments from board members. Are there any board members who would like to speak? David?
I'll just be very brief. I want to thank our public speaker tonight for coming and continuing to advocate meeting after meeting after meeting. And I also appreciate that you stay for the entire meeting. Some of these things have been marathons, so I appreciate you staying engaged beyond just what you got up to say. And I got to comment on all the students who have come throughout the school year to observe these meetings and to say their piece when they're given the opportunity. We've had the chance to hear about a variety of issues, whether it's classroom climate, whether it's fighting, whether it's equity issues, whether it's personal approach issues, the idea of teaching or treating the student as the whole rather than a slice of how we see them, I think has been really valuable for us to hear and to consider and contemplate. These have been valuable suggestions. And I know that there are other listening sessions going on in the district, aside from what happens here at the board. And man, I would love to hear more about those publicly, because I think that those are, again, really valuable opportunities for us to learn how to govern better and how to administer better. So thank you very much for being here.
All right, no other lights? I'm just going to remind the community that transfer in Rockford, you know, all 7 seats are up for re-election, and this is not a plug for anybody, but for transfer in Rockford for hosting an event where all the candidates, opposed and unopposed, will be present to answer questions, and that's tomorrow night at the Nordloff Center from 5:30 to 7. I just think it's important for people to hear, and so if anybody is able to attend, that would be a great opportunity. Anything else for the good of the cause? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion in a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Same sign. We are adjourned.